Well, I do want to let's go. We're on. That's right. DTM. It is time for that coffee break with DTM. And somebody was telling me, a friend of mine said that coffee breaks are like 5 to 15 minutes, and that my live streams go to 30 minutes, 1 hour. Listen, this is the kind of coffee break you want to take your time, enjoy the flavor, and chill out for a while. All right. If it's 30 minutes, if it's an hour, it's all good. Then clock back into work and do what you need to do later. All right. So here we go. Get started with coffee break with DTM. Let's go. And they can hear us right now. When I say they, I mean the internet, Facebook people, and that's cool. It's cool because this is how we do the live streaming. So already in the next few weeks, I'm gonna have an actual video that we're gonna play. So it's gonna be all right. Let me double check. Yep, there it is. It's on Facebook. There we go. We are live. And then when it's done today, I'm gonna make sure that I tag you and you can share it and all that stuff. Okay?
Okay.
Big Papa. Cuckoo, cuckoo. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this. We're back. DTM, Delta Tango Mike, anywhere on the internet. That is my Instagram. That is my Twitter. That is my Facebook, my website, everywhere on the internet. Just do a Google search. If you Google Delta Tango Mike, one word, everything that comes up is me. I've been very lucky, and I guess that makes me really smart, and that I actually picked some names that nobody else has. Delta Tango Mike. The other one name I have is The Creative Genius, and that's also one word. But all right, let's get to it. We have a special guest, a very awesome guy. I've known him for a long, long time, and I was telling my crew earlier today that we started working together at a record company, and we're the only two people who's still in the business. That's how hardcore we are. So let's go in the big shot and get Mr. Big Poppa in here, Allen Johnston. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm doing extremely well. Thank you, there.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you for sitting down with us out here at Cinemaker Studios. And let's talk a little bit about you. Tell us where you're from.
Where I'm from. In the beginning was the word, and the word was Chicago, Illinois.
All right.
Born and raised in Chicago. Came south. I came to Atlanta for about a year and moved from here down to Miami, where I stayed for 25 years.
Mm.
And then I came back because I liked it so much here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been here for the last almost 20 years now.
It's been a long while, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, because you and I were working together in 99 or, 2001 maybe. 2000,
Yeah.
2001. And then you were fresh from Miami then.
Well, I was, in fact, going back
and forth. That's right, yeah, because you still live over there.
Mm-hmm.
You still smell like sea salt.
Every day.
Nice, nice, nice. So we were talking earlier about your beginnings in the record industry. When you were growing up, did you ever feel like music was your calling and that was the industry you wanted to be in?
Absolutely. As a kid, I grew up with music every day.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised by my aunt and uncle. My uncle was the director of the church choir.
Okay.
And my aunt was a lyric sopranost.
Uh-huh.
So every day she sang all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what she was doing. If she was washing dishes, cooking, if she was cleaning, she was always singing, and then singing in English, Spanish,
Wow.
Italian,
Uh-huh.
German. She was an operatic singer.
Wow. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So she'd be doing arias and runs. And
Uh-huh.
they started me playing piano
Mm-hmm.
at an early age, like at 6.
They had a piano in the house and they sat you down.
Baby grand piano.
Okay.
It was in a special room,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to wash up and get dressed to go in there just to rehearse every
Yes.
day to come
Yes.
back.
Yes.
You know, you just couldn't walk in that room.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated it.
Okay.
I did not like anyone that starts playing piano and then when you make a mistake, they hit you across your hand. That is not something you want to continue doing. So,
Mm-hmm.
as I got old enough, my very first job, I saved enough money to buy myself a set of drums.
Okay.
And I started playing drums. Well, the first thing I bought were drumsticks and a drum pad. And then I got wooden chairs and put them around like a drum kit. And I played the pad and the backs of the chairs and the seats of the chairs.
Uh-huh.
And then I watched guys play and I taught myself.
You were studying other drummers and see how they move
Exactly.
and stuff. Uh huh.
Exactly. See the setups and the drums and how they hold the sticks. No one taught me.
Okay.
And then as I made enough money working, I bought myself my first set of drums. And my mother immediately sent me to the basement.
Nice.
Yeah.
Give you your own space there.
Yeah.
Make
And
noise down there.
every day, the guys didn't know where I was. They thought I'd left town because I'd leave school and go home, and I'd go straight to the basement
Uh huh.
every day, every
Nice.
day. And it paid off. It really paid off.
Did you start playing in a band and while you were still in school or?
While I was
Did
in
you-
high school, we formed our own band.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I finished high school, some professionals heard me and let me start playing in different things. Back in those days, though, you could go set in the first set of a nightclub.
Mm-hmm. As a young person.
Yeah, they'd let you come sit in and play with the professionals for a few minutes.
Uh huh.
And I really enjoyed doing that. I mean, it was just really awesome that I got a chance to sit with professionals, and I learned from some of the best.
Nice.
These
And
guys.
this-
Now, after that first set, you get up and let the real guys play.
Oh, they let you sit with the instruments and play with them.
Yeah. You could
Oh,
sit,
nice.
you could jam. You
Yes.
could sit in with them.
Wow. While they warm up. This is the warm up part. Uh huh.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
The first set of the night was
Nice.
normally the warm up.
Yeah.
Guys don't do that nowadays,
Uh-huh.
but back then they did.
Wow, that was cool. That was good. And so here you are, young man, finishing high school. Did you think of a career in music that you were gonna follow? Did you plan your college years as a musician? What was going through your mind? What was happening in those days?
Okay, well, once I finished high school, I just wanted to get out of the house.
All right.
So I joined. I joined the Army,
Yeah.
and once I joined the Army, in the Army, I started playing drums on the weekends downtown. They sent me to Alaska, so I became the house drummer for the Northern Starlight Lounge,
All right.
and I started playing behind every act that showed up. Etta James came in, James Brown came in.
Wow. And you were there on stage with them.
I was the drummer. I was
Right.
the house drummer.
Nice.
They come in and they have to work with the band that's there.
Uh huh. And they tell you what song they're gonna sing,
Oh,
and you
man,
already
it
know
was-
your beats and everything.
It was rough too.
Oh, what?
It was rough. Some of those people were real taskmasters when it came to what they wanted. Because besides the singers, I had to play for the dancers, and that was during the '60s.
Okay.
And some of the dancers were strip dancers,
All right.
so I had to learn the shuffle,
Mm-hmm.
and that shuffle was not easy to get.
Okay.
But once you learned the shuffle, you had it. You got them. Then we could do what we wanted to do.
Nice. So you're in the Army. You're doing. You're playing drums. What goes on in your mind as to what you're gonna do with your life as an artist?
In the Army, once I got in and got playing and doing the things we were doing, I just wanted to get it over with. We were mountain and glacier search and rescue, so I was out in the field all the time that I wasn't able to go play. When I came back from the Army, I went to college.
Okay.
I was in Chicago, Illinois. I left Chicago and moved to Atlanta.
Oh, okay. That's when your first time came out here.
I went to Clark College.
Okay.
My first semester, I went on the radio at WCLK, which was the second semester it was on the air.
Oh, okay. Brand new.
Brand new. And you can see my I was skinny then. You can see my skinny pictures and all those old photos they got.
Okay.
But I also, while listening to WCLK, I heard him talk about a drummer. And I went to the Yellow Pages and looked him up, and his name was Allen Murphy. And he was playing at Dante's Down the Hatch with the Paul Mitchell Trio. And so I called Allen Murphy and told him I was a drummer, and I also played percussion, congas.
Okay.
And he told me, well, let me see what you got. Come to my house. So I went to his house, took my drums. We played together, just he and I, for about 2 straight hours.
Uh-huh.
Sweat was just pouring.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, okay. And he went and made some phone calls, and he and I ate some fried chicken or something he had around the house. And Ojeda Penn came by. Joe, I can't even think these guys' names now, but they were instructors at Spelman. They taught the Spelman Girls Jazz Band.
Okay.
Joe Jennings came by. He had a couple of Carlos Glover, who was a guitarist, came by. And we had a jam session up in there for another 4 hours.
Wow. So
And
he
from
brought
that,
his friends. Okay. all right.
I spent an entire day there playing. And then that next week, the guys called me and I started gigging.
Nice.
I started playing around Atlanta. I played with Ojeda Penn for maybe 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The Ojeda Penn Experience, it was called, and we did some revolutionary things with sound. I became the guy that played for Alan Murphy at Dante's Down the Hatch when he went on vacation.
Uh-huh.
So I got a chance to play with the Paul Mitchell Trio a lot.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So that's it. You were in it. You were official.
I was official. So in school, I took a heavy marketing course.
Okay.
And in the marketing course, I started marketing, playing at the clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And the radio. I made radio ads. I made sales sheets. And I was just ahead of everybody in the class. The guy told me, listen, you got an A, go on. And I didn't even have to go to school for marketing. And I came out the top of the class. But it's because I knew what I was doing.
Mm-hmm. You were living that practice every day as part
day.
of the business
Every
anyway,
day.
and you were business-minded already.
So I'm sitting there at WCLK on the air, afternoon, and this little short guy walks in with the program director, and they talk and talk for hours, and I'm on the air, and he walked in behind me, and we talked for a few minutes. His name was Ernie Singleton. He became the first vice president of MCA Records, first black vice president.
Nice.
And I said, well, I want to learn what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Ernie said, fine. He gave me his address, and the next day I went to his house.
Mm-hmm.
I wound up changing his baby's diapers all day. But he showed me how to do a tracking sheet, which meant I was able to call radio and talk about the records that were there and find out what they were doing every week. And he taught me an expense report.
Okay.
First 2 things he taught me.
Nice. That's right.
And from that, me continuing to work with him over and over again, day in, day in.
You were like his intern or something.
I was his intern. I wasn't making any money. I had to hustle everything I needed to continue going. Ernie got me a job with Areola Records. And they moved me to Miami, Florida, and gave me a credit card, new car, my own private office, an assistant, and a paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the beginning of being in the record industry. I started as a promotion man, but when I started as a promotion man, I had to do the sales also. There was no black person that had the ability to do sales in that company. It's the easiest way to put that. And I became the salesperson for everything I did. And I started with the state of Florida. Then Clive Davis heard about me and tripled my salary. Moved me. I stayed in Florida, but then I became Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, North and South Carolina, and Tennessee.
Those became your territories where you're selling. And when you say you're selling to record stores now? You
No, I am
distributors?
I'm going to radio. I'm doing all the promotion. I'm getting records played. I'm creating promotional events around their records. When I leave the radio station, I go immediately to the stores. I used to carry a bucket, a squeegee, a sponge, and a stack of newspapers in my car.
Okay.
So I'd go to the store, and I'd have all these posters and whatnot on the new product,
I see.
and I'd wash the guy's front windows,
Uh-huh.
and he'd let me make a display in the window.
Ah, nice.
So
Some real hustle right there
Right,
on the
man.
grind.
you got to get it on.
Love it, love it.
And we did very well
Mm-hmm.
during my years at Aerosteel. I did so well that Capital EMI came in and doubled my salary again. I was getting good paper. New car, and I had an office in Atlanta and an office in Florida.
Yeah. So you were on the road a lot, all the time.
All the time,
Yeah.
all the time.
Very
Well,
nice.
one of the things they taught me working at Aerosteel, get up in one city and go to sleep in another. And so that's what we do. Sometimes it would be 3 cities. Sometimes I'd get up in one, I'd have lunch in another one, and go to bed in the third.
Making deals constantly.
Constantly doing
Yeah.
my job.
Yeah.
They're getting music played, promoted, coming up with new ideas. You got to constantly come up with new ideas.
Nice. All right, we're going to take a moment to look at our comments on Facebook because there's a lot of people already saying something. Number one, Dorian Knighton says, good morning. Good morning, sir. Kimberly Stewart Lucas, she says, Mr. Allen, I remember him. Tell him I said hello, please. And he worked with our angel, DTM Conchita.
Oh,
Remember her? Yeah.
Dee Dee.
Yes.
Do I ever? Dee Dee was phenomenal. She called me Uncle Allen. And I assisted Dee Dee doing quite a few things. We quietly worked together as she built her business.
Yeah. Because he promoted a lot of events and acts, right? In Atlanta.
And publicity.
Oh, that's right.
Publicity and promotion was her game. And Dee Dee was very good at what she did.
Awesome. There's some other lady, you may know her. She says, he's amazing with a capital A, amazing, all capital letters. Her name is Sharon B. Johnston.
I've heard of this
heard of
woman
her?
sometime.
Yeah, she's giving you a shout out.
Oh,
Very cool. And while we have this moment, I want to give a shout out to Cinemaker. So let's get the big shot. We're sitting here at Cinemaker Studios. We got Mr. Allen Johnston. I call him Big Poppa. We'll talk about that because I don't know how that even started. And we got our amazing crew. Amazing, the word amazing. The crew back here behind the scenes, handling things, making sure that the live stream is going without a hiccup. There's always something that's going to happen, and we need people to handle it. And so we got Mike, Stephanie, and Lauren back here, and then our operations manager, Bernardo, running around. So Cinemaker, check it out. It's a free app. It's available in the App Store, iPhones and iPads. So back to our conversation, Big Poppa. So I've been calling you Big Poppa for a long time, and I'm sure you told me to call you Big Poppa or said your name was Big Poppa. Tell us the beginning of that, how that happened. When did that begin?
Grandchildren. That's how it began.
Oh, is that what happened?
It began with grandchildren. I had a granddaughter. I had a home in Miami, and my daughter had 5 kids.
Okay.
And so she married into 2. So the 2 that she married into came with her 3, and they'd stay with me on the weekends because I had the pool.
All right.
And she was there, and I told her to do something. She told me no, and I sent her to her room. And she was just screaming and hollering, and I went in the room and closed the door. And she said, I want my papa, I want my papa. And I told her, I says, your papa has to answer to me because I'm the big papa.
I got you.
And from that point on, she said, oh, you the big papa. And that's how it started from that point on. They just started calling me Big Poppa.
And it spread.
It spread.
That's
the
right.
kids started it. Then other folks heard it, and they started it. It depends on where I am. Close family calls me Big Poppa.
Okay.
Other folks call me Uncle Al,
I see.
and they say that's my blues name, Uncle Al.
Uncle Al.
But in Africa, they call me Uncle Bobo.
Okay. And
So
Bobo means it's a term of
Bobo,
endearment, or
when I was there giving a lecture, and I told the people in the lecture, I said, listen, every one of you had that uncle that when he walks into the room, everybody says, uh-oh, what are he going to say? We don't know what he's going to say. I said, well, that's me. I'm your Uncle Bobo.
okay.
I'm the one that comes into the room and say anything I feel like.
Right.
Yeah.
And just roll with it. Just roll with it.
Let's go.
That's right. Nice. So, excuse me. I'm getting over the pollen. Now you're back and forth in Atlanta and Miami. You've been working within the record industry. When do you start working with artists? How did that transition happen?
Working with the record industry made me work with artists. Because I was working with the majors, I would have to take the artists into the radio station. I'd have to take them into the promotions. When they came in on tour, I had to set up things to drive traffic to their show.
Right.
So I was already working with artists.
Uh-huh.
I was setting up different deals for them in different cities. There's a guy you might have heard of. His name is Africa Bambaataa.
Right.
So Bam had a record. It was called Pac Jam.
Okay.
And I got a call out of New York from Silverman, who owned the company. And he asked me to work the Pac Jam record. And so I started working that record. And that was the beginning of me starting to do independent records. We did so many sales with Pac Jam that the New York scene exploded. And within 3 months, I must have had 15 records.
Okay.
All from different companies that wanted to get into the same system I was putting them in.
Mm-hmm.
That led to me working with independent records and independent artists. As that started to get stronger, I looked at the number of sales that were happening, and I went to the manufacturers, a plant, and sat down and talked with the guy that owned the plant. And he told me, he says, well, listen, why don't you start your own business? He says, you can work right here, but you got to take my son in.
Okay. Right.
I said, well, let's talk. That was the beginning of my label called Joey Boy Records out of Miami.
Nice.
And the son was Jose Armada Jr. And so his nickname was Joey. So that's how we started Joey Boy Records. As we built it, we needed a second company. So we started On Top Records because our offices were below the offices of his dad, which was on top of us. So we did On Top Records. And then I said, well, we're doing dance, hip-hop, R&B, soul, jazz. Let's do some gospel. So we came up with another label for all gospel records.
Okay.
And it just blossomed because once you work for yourself, you wind up doing everything. Yeah.
And so now, when you work with artists, they come at you, or like in the beginning at least, they have the record, the music is cut. What's your job? Your job is to set up interviews, set up marketing, like posters, flyers. What is the part that you were playing?
Okay, so we're getting into a gray area right now.
Oh, okay.
Because when artists don't always come to me with music prepared. Some of them come to me with an idea. And I help them develop that from that idea on, which is going to the studio, finding the right people to play on your product if you don't know how to do it, making sure it's engineered and mastered correctly, mixed and mastered correctly.
Okay.
And then setting up a marketing plan before you release the music.
Don't just put the music out.
No, For what? For, you going to put it out now in a few weeks, somebody gonna tell you that's old.
Right. Okay.
Now
yeah.
you
Yeah.
lost.
Right. Yeah.
Now you done lost out on your
Right.
money.
Because especially today, there's somebody coming out with something new.
So,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
The business has really changed. I mean, when I opened up Joey Boy Records, we put a whole album together, and then worked one single while we're steady selling the album. And
right.
then 6 months later, we released a second single.
Uh-huh.
Now, guys are releasing singles almost every week, at least every month, at least every month.
Just so you can stay in the spotlight enough.
Exactly.
I
Keep
see.
something happening.
Yeah.
And with the advent of digital distribution, your music never goes away. So once you put it up, it's going to be in that system forever.
Right.
People can then go back and research it and search it and bring it up.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you're working with artists, your job is you're kind of uncooked. The artist or the project is still needs a little bit of more cooking time, and then you have to come up with the promotional aspects of how you're gonna release this music and how you're gonna hit the market to get the most impact out of it, right?
Okay, so I'm going to hit you right now in the heart,
All right.
because one of the first things we have to do is determine what is this look going to be.
Right.
We got a sound. Now, what are we promoting visually? And
Yep.
it's so important.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got guys that put out music, great music, but nobody wanted to hear it once they saw the CD cover.
Right. That's right.
They just, I don't want this, and throw
Right.
it away. So we had to think about all the deliverables. We do the photo shoots. We bring in designers to help design the CD jackets and even the clothing that the artist was going to wear. We came up with a very unique look back in the early 90s. It might have been 1988. It might have been. That's when guys were just having mopeds. It just come out, moped. And so they had the big gloves and the suits and the goggles. Some had helmets, some did not. So we went and bought all of the accoutrements and put it on a group and called that group Base Patrol.
Okay. Base Patrol.
Yeah,
I'm going to look that up.
They're patrolling the base. Base Patrol. And that became such a unique look that kids just started buying it just because they wanted that. At the time, it was a 12 by 12 cover. We did other things, like we'd make all CDs, by the way, all albums. Some of you kids won't know what that is.
All albums, yeah.
All albums were 12 by 12. And so we made them so that they opened up. And now you've got a 12 by 24 with the artist picture in there so that people would buy two. They'd buy one to play and one to hang up on the wall so that it became a poster.
Right.
I didn't sell posters. I thought we're losing the money on the vinyl.
And that's the creativity part that you bring in when you're looking at the market overall. When you're looking at, well, how are we going to promote this? What ideas are going to fit this? What's the visuals that are going to help people get drawn into the product or and the artist? And does it match the music? One of the things, and you and I have worked together, and one of my focuses is that does the artwork match what the song or the artist is about?
Exactly.
You know, you want to kind of be on theme so that way when they're listening to the music, it matches what you're looking at and what you expect to see from the artist. And that's how you and I started working a long time ago. But to me, that's the important part that most people don't usually think about.
And I'll tell you what a lot of folks don't think about. I was spoiled when I put my first video out. I paid $300 for my first video. I was totally spoiled because I got MTV with my first video.
Nice.
And with that kind of television play, records just flew out. And then I spent more money to make another video, never could duplicate that. That $300 video was creative. It was developed by a cameraman at the Latin, at Univision.
Okay.
in Miami.
Uh-huh.
And he came on because he wanted to shoot. He said he could do it. And it was great. The act was the Miami Boys.
Okay.
And we did very well with them until they decided they were bigger than the label,
Mm-hmm.
which is nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
The next time I saw MTV was years later, and it was with a group called Disco Rick and the Dogs.
Okay.
And the reason that I saw MTV then is because we did a deal with the video network. What was it called? You would go, the videos would play on television, and you go on your phone and dial up
Mm-hmm.
and push the button for the video that you want. So, like, our video would be 1, 2, 3.
Uh-huh.
So dial this number in your area and hit 1, 2, 3, and our video will come up.
Wow.
It costs you $2 to see, and it'll be billed to your cell phone.
What?
Video jukebox, that's what it was,
Okay.
down in Miami. And we did phenomenal with that. I mean, we cleared almost 2 million sales just because the kids were dialing up that video over and over and over again. We got a lot of flack from churches because the kids would pull up that video on Sundays, and people...
What? And that's not church music.
No, it's not. No, it's not. In fact, we came to Atlanta. I'm going to tell the real story. We came to Atlanta and went to the Blue Flame and got girls from the Blue Flame. We went to, there was no Magic City. It's before Magic City.
Wow.
So we went to 3 or 4 of the strip clubs and got girls from the strip clubs and put them on a bus and brought them all to Miami.
Wow.
We had like 20 girls in Miami, and all they had to do was be in bathing suits and dance. Oh, it was phenomenal. When Rick went on tour, we go on tour, and we did Who's the Most Controversial tour with Rick and Luke and Two Live Crew. And after Rick's show, the last song, the girls would come out on stage, and they'd go crazy. And I'd take our act off stage because whatever they did out there, I couldn't have my guys getting arrested for it.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
you
sold
good for one
records.
song after that.
It's sold records. It's sold records. Yeah.
All right, I got a couple of last questions.
Okay.
Before I get to the questions, where do we find you online? What are your social medias?
Music Specialist Speaks, or Asha, A-S-H-A, Asha.com. Music Specialist is across the board.
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok.
All right.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right.
Got to keep it working, man. You got to keep reaching out. So across the board,
Music specialist. All right. Cool. So the last 2 questions are very much related. They're kind of the same question, but directed at different types of people. So the first question is, if you're talking to a young talent today, and because I saw you post a few days ago on Facebook how people send you records and nothing else, and what they expect out of you. You were kind of venting a little bit about the process.
A lot of bit.
Yes. And so what do you look for? What should a young talent, or any age really, any emerging talent, what is it that they should have in their mind when reaching out to a person like you, and what they should have ready? What can you do for them? What's the business?
Okay, so I know this is going to sound a little stuck up, but a new talent needs to be more interested in what they can do for me than what I can do for them.
Okay.
Because if they can't bring me a deliverable, I don't want to talk to them.
A deliverable is a song, an album?
It's a product that I feel I can go assist and make some revenue out of. What I was venting about online, and it's happening so much, is that people, and I'm not saying kids, I'm saying people,
Right.
just send you a product I want you to look at my video, listen to my song. And not one of them has asked you what your name was, how you feel, would you be interested? And so I just, if you're non-solicited. So if you don't reach out to me and say, hello, how are you? I'm not going to listen.
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Build a relationship, say something, say hello, introduce yourself, and start some kind of dialogue before you start pushing something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I like that. That's right.
Yeah. That's the first one. What's the second question?
Well, I still want to hear more.
Okay.
Is that okay? So now we got an introduction. Say, hey, Mr. Allen, I respect you. I love your work. Would like you to see my demo. I don't know what you even call it today. My stream. Here's my record. Can you help me? What is your response, or what is it that the kind of business that happens after that when you take somebody on?
Okay, so normally I'll listen, and some of the questions that I ask are, one, do you have a video? I'm seeing over 90% of new music discovery is on cell phones, mobile phones, and people are going directly to YouTube because they want to see who the artist is.
Oh, I see.
One of the things we do as soon as we take a record into distribution now, the first day of release, we've already put the album cover and the song on YouTube. That's the first day of release. And then I come back, I say, I want to see a music video by the artist. I want to see a lyric video by the artist.
I see.
So that's two. And then I want to see you start getting involved in stuff like TikTok, where your hook is being used over and over again.
Okay.
So I'm really interested now in visuals and the sound itself.
So let me pause for a second. So what you want is the artist to start getting involved in popular culture and getting their sound and their name involved, so that by the time that you get started with them, they start getting a natural following or some kind of name.
Yeah, well, we've got businesses like TuneCore and CD Baby right now, DistroKid. There are a couple of them where they take your record or take your song and you put it up today. I got it, I put it up, I'm in the system. And so many people think that's what they really want. And in reality, they just totally hurt themselves.
Because?
They did not drive any traffic. They did not let people know where it's going to be located. To go online and say in all digital platforms is garbage. It means nothing, because nobody's going to all digital platforms. There's no such thing as all digital platforms is going to pull your record up.
Right.
So you need to tell me it's on Spotify. It's on Spotify and it's on Dan the Man's playlist.
I see.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube subscription. It's on YouTube movies. It's on YouTube Red. Let me know what's happening. It's on Tidal. Tell me what's going on with the product.
Be specific when you're doing a call out and a call to action. Be specific of where you're driving the traffic.
Not only be specific, but set it up. Now, I take 6 to 8 weeks from the time I put a record into the system until the release date.
Okay.
I get people screaming and crying and, oh, I've been waiting all along. But they don't think that first day of release, if you can get 10,000 streams and 500 downloads, you'll be in the top 100 records on Billboard.
That's it.
That's it. But you get guys that might not get 200 streams, no downloads, and then wonder how come people are not listening to their music.
So there's a lot that goes into the promotion and the build up to the drop, and all the promotional stuff needs to be already handled and ready to go when it drops.
The one thing that has stayed consistent since my starting in this industry, going through physical and into digital, is that before you release a product, you have a marketing plan available.
Yep.
You know what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
That has been consistent with my company, and that's why the people doing business with me win.
Mm-hmm.
I don't take a lot of folks in
Right.
because a lot of folks don't want to win.
Mm-hmm.
They want to floss.
Right. Yeah. They want to act like they doing
Pop
something.
your collar.
Uh-huh. Rent the Benz
Yeah.
for the video shoot.
Rent the vans for the video shoot, and
Yeah.
then go home in the
Get back
hoopty.
in the MARTA. I understand. That cool. All right. I think that's enough information to get started. So anybody who's starting out and wants to reach out to you, they know they have to at least know enough to be prepared to when they do the reach out. All right. So the last question is, if you were to be able to talk to the Allen Johnston of playing in the bands in the Army, still in the Army, what kind of advice would you give them?
Keep your head on. Don't do them drugs. Stay away from the alcohol. And keep away from the wild women. Because that Allen back there, is not the Allen of today. Everything else came along. I mean, the business was nice. I did good business. I still do good business. And I enjoy this business.
Yeah.
I get up in the morning wanting to do this. And I don't do the same thing 2 days twice straight.
Right. That's good. All right, cool. Well, thank you very much for your time, sir. I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you sharing. You were drinking water. I don't know where your water went. Appreciate you sharing a moment and a coffee break with DTM. Check out Big Poppa, Allen Johnston. He is on Facebook and on Instagram, Twitter, and everything. I don't even know what TikTok is. I'm going to have to figure it out just because it's happening. It's out there. Thank you for having this coffee break with us today. Sip on your coffee, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you very
Good
much,
job.
Dan.
Yes, sir.
The man.
My man.